After killing the first monster, Yechuan lay flat on the ground, his body covered in sharp spikes like a hedgehog. His earlier actions, however, had caught the attention of the two remaining creatures. They turned to look at him, confused by the strange posture he was lying in. Yechuan stayed perfectly still, pretending to be a corpse. Surprisingly, the act worked. The two monsters were fooled. Watching them continue to feast on the corpses, Yechuan smirked inwardly. These idiots really are too stupid. Silently, he crept toward one of the creatures. It was so focused on its meal that it didn't even notice him approaching. Only when Yechuan was right beside it did the beast suddenly realize something was wrong. Its twisted face was filled with terror, as if Yechuan were the real monster, not it. Before it could react, Yechuan's blade came down, slicing the creature cleanly in two. The system notification sounded again. Executioner Yechuan has slain a special pig with a butcher's knife. Level increased by 5%. Damage against the pig clan increased by 1%. Gain 0.1 free attribute points. Without hesitation, Yechuan moved toward the last monster. One light swing was all it took to finish it off. The system chimed once more with the same message. Finally, Yechuan had time to pull the sharp spikes out of his body. Each one was smeared with blood. It didn't hurt too much, but his face still showed a hint of irritation. The next rank, Initiate, was already within reach, yet if he wanted to advance faster, he needed to hunt stronger beasts for more experience. Determined, Yechuan ventured deeper into the wilderness. By his calculations, killing one more level 9 apprentice beast or 5 level 8 ones would be enough for a breakthrough. But before he could go far, the ground beneath his feet began to tremble violently. Moments later, a section of the forest was ripped apart. A massive rhinoceros burst forth, charging straight down the path Yechuan was taking. What puzzled him most was the creature's expression. It looked unnaturally fierce. Rhinos were herbivores, yet this one's behavior was more like that of a man-eating beast. Yechuan suddenly recalled the rumors he'd heard after leaving the city, about herbivorous animals mutating into violent monsters. It seemed those stories were true. Seeing the crazed rhino charging toward him, ready to offer experience points, Yechuan couldn't help but smile. To him, any creature that tried to devour humans deserved to die. He carefully studied the rhino's movement, drew his weapon, and unleashed a powerful slash. The sharp butcher's blade cut through its tough hide, sparks flying as steel met hide thicker than iron. The system chimed, Executioner Yechuan has slain a special pig with a butcher's knife. Level increased by 5%. Damage against the pig clan increased by 1%. Gain 0.1 free attribute points. Before he could celebrate, something strange happened. The rhino's corpse was suddenly dragged away. Looking closely, Yechuan saw thick spider silk wrapped around it, pulling the body deeper into the forest. Intrigued, he immediately gave chase. Soon, he discovered the carcass being dragged into a large pit in the ground. Without hesitation, Yechuan blasted the rhino's body aside and jumped down to investigate. Inside was a horrifying sight, an underground cavern decorated with countless spider cocoons. Within them were rotting corpses of both humans and beasts, filling the air with a sickening stench. As Yechuan was still processing the gruesome scene, 8 crimson eyes glimmered in the darkness behind him. A golden spider leg shot forward, aiming straight for his back. But Yechuan had already sensed the ambush. He swung his knife backward, successfully blocking the strike. Sparks flew in the dark cave. His blade couldn't cut through the spider's leg. So tough. Yechuan was momentarily stunned. Then, the creature finally emerged from the shadows. A massive golden spider, nearly 5 meters across, crawled into view. Its 8 metallic legs gleamed with a deadly golden sheen. Yechuan's pupils contracted sharply. Now he understood why he hadn't seen any beasts along the way. This spider was an apex predator that devoured both humans and monsters alike. What caught his attention most, though, was those golden legs. He could already tell they would be worth a fortune. If it had been before, Yechuan would have turned and fled without hesitation. But now, a cold killing intent flickered in his eyes, mixed with a glint of greed. He wanted those golden spider legs. Besides, slaying this creature would surely push him into the initiate realm. The giant spider, enraged by the intrusion into its territory, reared up on its four hind legs. Its massive body loomed high as the front four shot forward like iron spears, stabbing fiercely toward Yichuan. Clang! 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 Sparks flew as the butcher's knife clashed against its metallic limbs. Yichuan quickly realized that the only way to win was to evade and strike at the spider's body. But all his calculations fell apart when the spider launched a barrage of silk while he was midair. With no space to dodge, he was quickly ensnared. In an instant, the sticky threads tightened around him, binding his limbs completely. The spider lunged, its sharp legs stabbing into his thigh. A surge of venom rushed into his veins. Pain exploded through his body as he collapsed to the ground. The system echoed relentlessly in his ears, warning, "You have been poisoned." Analyzing. Spider venom causes mental disruption and potential berserk state. Yichuan's consciousness wavered. His mind became a storm of agony and rage. Letting out a feral scream, he used brute strength to tear apart the webbing that restrained him. His eyes glowed with a strange, eerie green light. Foamy green saliva dripped from the corners of his mouth. Freed from the silk, Yichuan glared at the spider with terrifying eyes, so menacing that even the giant arachnid hesitated. Then, he attacked. Yichuan charged forward like a mad beast, unleashing a flurry of savage blows. The spider scrambled backward, its metallic legs clashing again and again against the oncoming blade. Sparks and screeches filled the cave. As the venom coursed deeper through his body, Yichuan's madness intensified. His movements grew faster, stronger, his strikes more violent and erratic. He wasn't fighting like a man anymore. He was fighting like a monster. The spider, overwhelmed and terrified, finally tried to flee. But Yichuan would never let that happen. Before the creature could escape, its movement froze mid-step. Because Yichuan was holding it tightly with spider silk. With a furious roar, Yichuan yanked the spider back toward him and swung his butcher's knife down with full force. The blade cleaved through the spider's massive form, splitting it cleanly in half. Yichuan's face twisted into something inhuman, a mix of triumph and madness. But as soon as the monster fell, his strength gave out. He collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The system's voice rang once more. Butcher Yichuan has slain a special pig with a butcher's knife. Level increased by 15%. Damage bonus against the pig clan 1%. Gained 0.1 free attribute points. An hour later, Yichuan awoke. The spider's corpse lay nearby, already cooling. His mind was foggy, but he could feel the difference in his body. His power had grown. He had finally broken through to the initiate realm. He lit a small campfire and sat down to rest. Hunger gnawed at him, so he carved a few of the spider's golden legs and began roasting them. The taste was surprisingly rich and fragrant. As he ate, he muttered to himself, "I've already killed 3 of Liu Xing's men. If I don't head back soon, that bastard might take revenge on my mother." Just as Yichuan lifted a piece of roasted spider leg to his mouth, a soft, feminine voice interrupted him. A beautiful woman stepped out of the shadows, her figure tall and alluring, legs long and slender, with small curved horns atop her head and pointed ears glinting in the firelight. She crouched beside him, her lips curling into a teasing smile. "Hey there, handsome," she said lightly. "That smells amazing. Mind sharing a bite?"